Happy Wednesday, friends. Another Work It Wednesday. We're so excited you're here with us. And we are going to start talking about 2025. I know that seems crazy because 2024 just started, but here we are, ending another year. And we think it's important to get a jump start on the new year, goal setting, what your expectations are, so you can hit the ground running and really know what it is you expect out of yourself. So Dylan has a really cool thing that he did last year that we are going to do today as a team. Reminder, there will be no Work It Wednesday next week because newsflash is Christmas. So spend it with your families.
Whether you
Other than
like
that,
them or not.
yeah. Oh, or do you want Renee to start with news tab, I
You
guess?
at the news tab?
I muted myself. If you got something, go for it.
Okay, news tab had a few things on it this week. Um, they will be closed from Christmas Day to New Year's Day. Hours will be shortened on Christmas Eve. I think it said 4 o'clock Pacific time, so convert that. There will be no updates to the product status list until January 2nd. They added our customer follow-up onto the workstation. Similar to what's in the Scentsy Connect app, but you can only do the emails on the workstation. But they've made it all easier access for that, and the product promotions and everything, just like it's on the app. So on the app, you can text it or email it. On the workstation, you can only email it. So they made that easier. Hang on a minute. I made notes because I knew Dylan was going to throw me under the bus again. No. On the workstation, you can do multiple emails at one time, and there will be email templates. Okay, and then they put order tracking on our workstation so that the customers can go in and track their orders. They said that is to get them back to the work. Oh my God, not the workstation. Back to the website. Hopefully to get them to reorder, and just make it more friendly for them. I think that was it
Sweet.
on the new stuff.
Anybody else see anything that they were super excited about, or does that excite anyone?
It all is exciting.
It is. It is. I did check out as soon as I saw the Workstation Connect tab. I thought that was really cool. That
Yeah.
basically, like from your computer, see what the same thing that your phone would be showing through the Scentsy Connect app. So it's cool that
Yeah.
they're like mixing those two things together. So if you're somebody who likes, like I work a lot better if I have my laptop open and I'm doing it that way than being on my phone because I get really distracted. So it's nice that you can kind of see that same thing and kind of have that project broadcast, whatever your mailing system is, have all of those things open and then be able to multitask it a
Right.
little better.
Yeah.
It's cool. So
Or even sending them emails, and there's going to be email templates and everything. So
yeah, I think they're just going to keep adding templates for us, which is really nice because they've done the studies behind it. They know what works for consultants. And
yeah.
so don't underestimate those because they are very, very good. Even if it's something very generic, like, hey, I just wanted to check on you and your order. Like they know that those texts work because they've tried this through multiple different consultants. So
Yeah.
use those to your advantage, use them the best you can. Um, let's go ahead and kick off a little bit of training. So, like Tab said, I do have an idea that I used last year with my team, and I did share that in the chat, but I kind of want to do a little bit of a spin because every year I like to change it up a little bit. So I added a little bit of a spin. So you can kind of take this two different ways and come up with whatever works best for you. I'm a paper and pen and paper kind of person. If I put anything on my computer, it lives in my computer. It does not live in my head. It goes away. My friends can tell you that if it's not on pen and paper, I will lose it. I have everything on pen and paper. If it goes to my computer, gone forever. It's gone. Um, so if you are somebody who likes design and you like computer stuff, you like to use Canva, then I did drop a Canva link. I can share my screen for just 1 second here and share what we were talking about. So I shared the template for this. What this is if you are, like I said, a digital person and you want to create something fun to hold yourself accountable for next year, then this is basically like a bingo board. So what you would do is you would put your actions in here. So you could come in here and type something like build a front line of 10 people, right? And then your next goal would go here. 1 month 5K PRV, right? And so you can go through and add every single thing in here. And then what I did last year is I'm looking for it, like I hung it up on the wall. I didn't hang it up on the wall, but I did.
Supposed to. He was supposed
I was
to.
supposed to. What I did is I took this and I printed it through Canva. I printed it huge. It's poster size, like as big as I could, because my idea behind that was to post it on the wall so that way I had to look at my goals every single day. But for me, it just, my office is too small and that didn't work. So I set it as my wallpaper. And it was literally my wallpaper from January until August when the Greece incentive came up, and then I changed my wallpaper to that. And then since then, it has kind of escaped my mind because, again, it's in my computer and not in my head. But if you set goals, then make sure to set this, set it as your wallpaper, or set it on your as your phone wallpaper, like put it somewhere where you're seeing it every single day. So that way you can remember. When I built this, I did very complicated goals in the purple boxes and then easy obtainable goals in the blue boxes. So that way, I didn't feel like if I wasn't having a good month, then I still wasn't going to be able to cross something off. So I think in one of the blue boxes, it was talk to a random stranger about Scentsy. So I could literally go to the gym that morning, see that on my phone and be like, okay, I need to talk to one person just so I can feel like I can cross something off. So make it easy, obtainable goals, and then also difficult goals that are right now seem too far out of reach, but one day you will meet, hopefully in 2025. So that is the first option. The second option that I want to give before we go into kind of like the training portion of it is what I want to do for 2025, since I'm a pen and paper person, is I am going to get 25 sticky note, not 25, I don't know where the number 25 came from. I'm going to get 12 sticky notes, and for each month, I'm going to write out the month on the top of the sticky note, and I want to only focus on one thing per month. That is what I'm allowing myself in 2025, because I know if I focus on too many different things, then I give my attention to that and not to anything else. And so I have to hyper focus on one thing. And I've realized that through looking at my numbers and through looking at everything that I've done this year. And what has worked for me is I'm trying to multitask way too much, and I need to simplify as much as I can. And so for the next 12 months, I'm making one sticky note every single month. I'm putting a goal on it, and that's my goal for that month. That's all I care about. I'm not worrying about annual sales. I'm not worrying about annual mentor. I'm not worrying about I'm not saying don't worry about those things, because those are things that are still in my head, but I want to focus on one thing. So like January, for example, I can have 5 parties, and that's literally every single thing I do that month is going to be getting those parties, because I know that if I hyper focus on it, if I have a goal in my head, then I'm going to shoot for that way more than having 10 goals in my head, right? And I texted Tab and Renee last night and Tiffany, and I love, does anybody watch Shark Week, or not Shark Week? That's a good thing too, but Shark Tank. Anybody watch Shark Tank? No? Okay. Well, if you do, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. But basically what it is it's these entrepreneurs are coming in, they're presenting their business to all of these people who have a ton of money, and they're saying they want them to invest into their business. And I love it because it's these small, like, people who have a huge vision, they have a huge goal in their head, and they're trying to do something. They're an entrepreneur and they really want something in their life. And so they're just putting everything out there, their passion, their love, their money, like everything out there and giving it to the world. And then hopefully somebody like helps them a little bit. And I was watching it last night. I don't know why I turned it on. Maybe it was like a sign or something. But when I was watching it, Barbara, which is one of the rich
I
people,
like Barbara.
I do too. She's one of the rich people. She was talking to somebody, and they didn't have like every time they would talk, they would stutter a little bit. And not that stuttering is a bad thing, but like they couldn't answer any of the questions that they had. And so finally, Barbara looks at her and she was like, "Can you tell me three things that you're going to do for your business tomorrow? Tell me three things that you're going to wake up and do for this business tomorrow." And of course, the girl like stutters for a second and she can't think of anything. And she's like, "I want to be really honest with you. I've never met an entrepreneur that doesn't know three things they're going to do for their business the next day. And if I have, they're not successful anymore." And it just like blew my mind because it's so true. Like we have to have goals set and we have to have those things planned out. And there are I'm not going to lie to you. There's so many days in my business where I'm like, what am I going to do today? Like I just don't feel like doing anything. I'm not going to do anything. And if you had a vision of those three things that you wanted to do, or you knew every single day you have to do those three things, if somebody said, "What's three things you do?" Like, say a new person came in and they're like, "I'm starting my business tomorrow. What's three things I can do?" Do you have something to tell them? Because that's the difference between successful people in Scentsy and not successful people. People who are successful have a goal, they have a drive, they have something they're building for, and those who don't, and they're just going day in and day out, just guessing what they're going to do. I shouldn't say don't tend to make it, but you get to what I'm saying, right? Like, I don't, yeah,
There's a different level.
I don't want to scare anyone, but it's so true. Like, if you just think about it, like, there's so many times in my business where I just don't feel like doing anything. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying like you should give up on this business if that's you, because I'm in that same place, but it made me realize that like you should have a goal. And that's really what tonight is about. And that's what I want to inspire you all to think about over the next few months. And few months, I mean like this month and next month,
Week.
and then
Just
hopefully,
this
yeah,
week, because the next year.
well, like continuing on into it, right? Like think about that. Use it this week. Use this week to plan. We have 2 weeks left. Still push your business. Christina made an amazing video. If you didn't watch it, it almost made me cry because it was so perfect, everything that she was talking about. But you have 2 weeks in your business right now where there's a little bit of a lag. I don't want you to stop thinking about Scentsy or those orders or anything like that because we still need to do that. We are still selling product, we're still hosting parties, we're still doing all those things. But it's a good time in your it's a good starting point, January 1st, right? Like we have to have that vision for January 1st, and that's what we want to set everyone up with. Um, Anyone have anything they want to add? I can give Renee, Tabitha, Tiffany a second. If you guys have anything, I just don't want to.
You're doing
Killing
great.
it. I'm killing it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
We'll just
Dylan's
keep
the
on
bomb.
going. But I think we need to take these 2 weeks and look at what we've done. And so the other day I put in the Scented Social Circle about some things that you can look at. There is a, if you want it, there is a like an Excel spreadsheet where you can put those numbers in and then it provides you with a little bit of information for your goals for 2025. And that's what I also had planned for tonight. But the thing is, we can put in our number, and this coming from me, so this is hard talk because I love putting my numbers in. I love tracking my numbers. It's probably my favorite thing because I love living in Excel sheets. We can put in our numbers all day into a tracker, but it's not the numbers that we see that are going to help us, it's the actions we take. And so, yes, I can spend time with you all tonight saying, wow, that was so deep, Dylan. That was deep. Woo! I can give you,
Dylan's on fire.
yeah, I can give you these numbers all night long and help you like say Brienne, for example, her PRV, let's say she killed it this past year. She did 20,000 PRV. She's doing great. And she puts it in this tracker and it says next year you need to do 50,000. What is that going to do for her other than scare her a little bit or just like, there's nothing there to that. It doesn't say, okay, this is what you need to do to get to 50,000. It just says you need to be at 50,000 to grow. And so instead of us putting our numbers in there, I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what those numbers mean and what they look like in your business. So I divided them up the best I could. There's other areas of your business that you can look at. We have thousands, like as I was creating that, I was like, wow, we could look at this and this. But the idea behind it was I want you to really hone in on what your business is and what it looks like today. And I want you to think about that because if we aren't having parties, if we aren't getting people to join us, then our business isn't growing. Even if our PRV is growing, then our actual business isn't growing. We're not going to grow to the leaders that we want to be. If you don't want to be a leader, then don't let this scare you either. But to be a leader, you have to have a team that is following you. And so we just need to look at those numbers and see where we want to take them. And what I encourage you to do, if I could say anything other than the sticky note little challenge, because I think that's fun, the main thing that I would say to do is to get those numbers together, do the work yourself, get the numbers, and then find somebody in your upline that you can count on. Tabitha, Renee, myself, Tiffany, Jenny, anyone who's on this call, get with them and say, hey, I want to go over my numbers with you and let's plan for 2025 together. Because all of those people, everybody who's on this call, are people who are doing really, really well in their business. And we know what to do. We just have to have the actions. We have to know what we need to focus on. Tab, you look like you got something to say.
Nope, you're good.
I have something to say. I don't like stealing the show.
Why? You're
I
killing
like
it.
it. You're doing good.
I am, but I want somebody else to speak for a second so I can take a drink.
Okay. No, yeah, the only thing, or I don't really have anything to add to that, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it is true. You are setting the tone for next year, for yourself, for your team. Like, it goes deeper than that because the team will rise to your level. And if you are being a lazy leader, you're going to create lazy team. Like it's just the way it is. And I say that out of love, but I constantly want to push myself at a higher level. So all of my team looks to see what that bar is that can be hit. And I want someone to chase me. I want someone to be like, I'm coming for you. I want that top sales every month. I want to sponsor more than you. Like, because that's only going to push me further up. Like that's the whole goal of it is, we rise each other up just like what Christina has on our Facebook cover. A rising tide lifts all boats. So if everybody's hungry, everybody's willing to work, everybody's able to put in the time and the effort and the dedication and the consistencies, everybody is just in a whole going to do better. And I've really been thinking about it because I've been talking a lot with Christina about our big group and what we want to see from it and the trainings and the resources and the expectations and everything. And I was just really thinking about, I know I feel better about myself when I'm pouring more into you guys. Like I, as a leader, am better in my business when I am feeling like I'm leading you guys from a good place. And a lot of that is listening to podcasts when I get ready in the morning rather than having a show on. Like a little bitty tone to start my day changes because most of the time when I'm listening to a podcast, I'm going to put what I took from it in the team chat, or I'm going to make a story, or I'm going to go live in the team page. Like those stuff inspires me in the second that makes me want to pass that on and hopes you guys feel the same way about it. And I hope you'll find something in your everyday that you can add in the new year. I mean, and don't wait till the new year. Start today. Like literally start today. Don't slack off on your business right now. It is December 18th. There's the rest of the year. Challenge yourself. Everybody says you can't get sales this month. Prove them wrong. I got a
I got
$200 order tonight.
I got $100 order today.
Exactly. Like sales will still happen. The only way they don't is if you tell yourself they won't. You tell yourself people aren't spending money. You tell yourself you won't sell anymore. You've done all you can do for this month. Have you stopped posting in your VIP group and on your personal pages and in your stories? Or are you still showcasing that Scentsy available? Has anybody joined your team? When's the last time you asked somebody to join your team? Like physically had a joint conversation with a person and not just posted and prayed. It's like these are the things with the stuff that we're starting for the new year that we really want you guys to dig deep and realize you will only elevate yourself better and become a better version of yourself when you really dig deep for it. Okay, back to the Dylan show.
Well, Renee, you got something?
No,
Okay. I think that's so true. I mean, it's really looking at your business through the past year. Like, take the time to sit down and say, how many times, like, what's one thing I want to focus on, and how many times have I done that this past year? If you feel like parties are struggling right now, the hard truth is that you're probably not asking about parties. If your parties are failing right now, the hard truth is you probably aren't host coaching the right way. I wouldn't say that for all of them. Let me put that out there because there's
right.
some parties that are just a flop, and that's okay too. But most of the problem is host coaching there. If your team hasn't grown this year, or if it's grown by 1 or 2 or 3, and you want it to be a larger number than that, then it's probably because you're not having those joint conversations. And the funny part about this is that when I was looking at the little tracker that the love of my life created for these numbers thing, dang it, this is recorded. That's so weird. She's gonna watch. Never mind. Anyways, so
Never gonna watch
yeah,
this.
don't watch this.
Unless I send it to her.
No,
It'd
no,
be
no,
like,
no,
hey,
no.
watch at minute 22.
Watch at 2802. Don't compare some love to you. But the funny part of this is at the end of it, so there's like you're looking at your PRV, and then you're looking at how many parties you've had, and then you're looking at your current team size, and it says at the very bottom, which is like kind of like the closing of it all, is talking about like the number of conversations that you've had. And so at the end of the day, our business is literally just about conversation. How many conversations are you having individually with people? I don't mean VIP group. I don't mean posting on your page and praying. I mean like actually having a genuine conversation with somebody. And how many times are you, hello, Tiffany Cousins. Speaking of the love of my life. Uh, how many conversations are you actually having with somebody? So to break this down a little bit, if you want to write somebody, if you are like a numbers person, I am going to go through each of the titles and tell you how many conversations you should be having per month suggested on this tracker. And I want you to think about that. And I don't want you to feel targeted by it. And I don't want you to feel some type of way like, oh, this is too tough. It's not. Break it down by day, break it down by hour. Like we all poop, honestly. Go poop, take your phone out and contact 3 or 4 people each day. By the end of the month, 3 times 30 is 90. You've had 90 conversations. Like, and that's if you only poop once a day. Some people do multiple times a day, right? Like whatever you have to do to work your business. So don't let these numbers scare you. Just think about how you can change your lifestyle a little bit at a time to fix in more conversations so that way you can be doing the things that you want to do in your business, whether that be growing a team, having parties, getting more sales, whatever you want that to look like. So if you are lead, if you want to get paid at title for lead, per month, you have to at least have 40 conversations. 40.
40.
40.
Think about that.
40 conversations about
Whatever,
Scentsy.
whatever you want it to be. So whatever
Okay.
you want to focus on.
Okay.
So it can be 40 conversations on if you want to grow your team.
Okay.
And the reason that number is 40 is because if we think about it, out of those conversations, out of 40, 1 out of 10 is going to say yes.
Oh, no, 40 was low for what I expected you to say more. So,
Well, we'll get out there, trust me.
We're just talking about lead right now.
Yeah,
okay.
we're just talking about lead.
But
But
that's where I'm at.
yeah, but if you're having those 40 conversations, then you
Right.
can pivot those to wherever you want them to be. But
How
I
many
would,
do you think you had, Renee?
A month,
mhm,
10.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. And so, I mean, 10, that's a realistic number for all of us. We all have those months. And so if Renee is saying 10, then I bet probably out of those 10 conversations, she had one person say yes to whatever she was focusing on with that specific customer. So if they're having party, if she's pushing parties for that person, or she's pushing that person to join or club, whatever the situation is, whatever she's
Yeah.
pushing, that person is going to say yes when they finally say yes. But it's 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
So that's where we're getting those numbers.
This year's been bad. I looking at my numbers, I was down, but I didn't do events and I didn't have the conversations. But
But that's
next
why
year,
we do this end of the year
right.
review. So, like, I even went back and I'll be full transparent. The last 2 years, I've sponsored 21 people in 2022. I sponsored 20 people in 2023. I sponsored 12 people this year.
Yeah.
And do you feel
So,
like you've had less
Hey,
conversation?
now I did go
fun,
up in
yeah,
sponsoring.
yeah,
What'd you say, Tab?
yeah, for sure had less conversations.
Yeah. So it's whatever you want to focus on is
I
fine.
focused on PRV. So that was my thing this year is I was going to be heavy PRV, which I have been. I'm up
Exactly.
significantly with my PRV for this year, but
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
not sponsoring.
But you're still having those. I mean, you have constant conversations with people, and
I
that's
do.
where, I mean, you are getting that PRV didn't come from nowhere. It's coming from constant conversation.
I've gained more new customers this year than any year, but that tells me that 2025, I'm going to have a skyrocket of recruits because I planted a lot of seeds this year.
Right.
So this was a planting year for me, honestly. So my numbers are down this year, but next year
Team
I look to
numbers, not
sponsor a
PRV.
lot. Huh?
Team numbers, not PRV.
Yeah.
Correct. Numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's really what you want to focus on at the end of the day. And so when I say have that sticky note or you have the bingo board or however you want to do it, write it at the top of your calendar, write it on your fridge, wherever you have this thing. If you're saying in January you want to focus on growing your team, then I would focus on 40 conversations about growing a team. So every
Okay.
single person you are contacting, and I would even challenge yourself to do like more outside conversations, not like, oh, with my customers, I'm having these conversations because
Right.
customers
No,
are easy. We have them, they're in our pocket, they're done. The
I
challenging
need to
part,
grow my circle.
the challenging part is growing that circle and saying, I want to talk to 40 people outside that I don't know. And so to
Right.
do that, I probably should at least have one party and then that's 10 more people. Say you
Yep.
have 4 parties in 1 month, that's all of your people, that's 40 new people that you can have conversations with. So think of it that way. That's lead. I want to move to the next one, which is
Okay.
star, and that is 100 conversations. 100 conversations. If 1 out of 10 say yes to something, were you laughing, Renee?
At Tiffany's face.
uh, star is 100 conversation. I wasn't even looking in that direction. I was looking at Renee. 100 conversations, 1 out of 10, that means 10 people would say yes. So you're getting 10 people to say yes to whatever you're pushing, whatever you're focusing on. Superstar consultant, 300. Which would be 30. Director, 600 conversations. 600 conversations,
That's so people-y.
which is a lot of But think about that. Like that's a lot of people. I don't even know.
It's a lot
Yeah.
of
I don't
people.
even know if I would know that many people. But think about that in like the large scale. Like think about that as, and we can use like Tab's hyper growth season when she had a huge, when she recruited multiple people in just a few short months. She was having a lot of conversations, a ton of conversations, all about joining. And so if one in every 10 said yes,
Yeah,
like that,
10
yeah.
people in March.
Yeah, say
Yeah.
even 300 because 600 is a ton of people. That's a ton of people. But say 300 conversations, that's a team of 30. If you're only focusing on team, if 300 people you reach out to and say, "Hey, I have a free kit, I have a half off kit, I have this host exclusive kit, whatever they offer us in January," and you tell that to 300 people, 30 people say yes, you just grew your team by 30 people. And that's 1 out of 10 saying yes. I think our odds are a little bit higher because we have something great that we're offering to people. And so I do think more people out of not just 1 in 10. I think it's like 2 in 10 or 3 in 10, depending on what you're doing too. Like you can't just straight up meet somebody on the street and say, "Hey, join my Scentsy team." If you can, let me know because I would love to do that as well. And I don't have the courage to do that. But what we're doing is we're thinking about these numbers in the masses, in the big numbers, and thinking about, okay, what if 10 people say yes to this? This is what I'm going to get out of it. Or I want to grow my team by, say, you set a huge goal for 12 people next year. You want 12 people, one person a month? That's 1,200 conversations that you would have to get that. 120? Is it 100? Is my math right there? 120? Yeah, something like that. Anyways, a lot of conversations, a lot of conversations. We're in the conversation business. So remember that when you're setting those goals. Take the numbers that I gave you, the PRV, look at your PRV, look at how many parties you had, how many parties you wanted to have. If you want to even change that a little bit and focus more on your VIP group, go back and count how many times you posted in this last month and say, I would rather do it this way in January. Set that goal for January and then move on to like one thing at a month, one thing per month, and really focus on that. Put all of your intent, all of your heart, all of your, sorry, my mom's calling me. All of your, she's going to call right back. Everybody just wait a second because this is how this goes. I know it's going to happen. Put all of your focus into one. This will happen 3 times. Sorry, folks. It happens every time, 3 times in a row. Put all of your focus into everything that you have in your business, whether that be whatever you want it, pen and paper, put a magnet on the fridge, put it on your calendar, make a cute Canva thing. Don't spend too much dang time on it and just put something together. And then the last thing I want to add is Tab shared the other day a podcast of Jessie Lee. And if you know who Jessie Lee is, she is one of the most amazing people in this world. If you don't know who she is, she's an amazing person. Passed away, but she was very, very, very good at direct sales. And I was listening to the same podcast that Tab sent over because she listened to it. And I was like, if Tab loves it and it inspires her, then I want to listen to the same one. So I listened to it. And there was something that really struck me on that too. And what she said is, she said, the difference between most people and myself is I take action quick. She said, if
Yeah.
somebody tells me to do something, and this was, did you catch this, Tab? You know where I'm going
Oh,
with this? Yeah,
1000%.
yeah. I was literally like, I was working and then I like stopped and I was like, back up, and listen to it probably 5 times. Like the same thing. But what she was saying is, she said, the difference between me and everybody else in this company, everybody else in this industry, is I take action quick. If I want to change something, if I see something I love, if there's anything that somebody says, hey, you need to do this, she said, I'll pull out my phone in the middle of a conversation and do it. She said she was in an interview with somebody and they said, hey, I think you need to change your podcast from business, wasn't it? Business to entrepreneurship. And she said, hold on, let me change that. And she went into her podcast, which she has a very successful podcast, changed it from a business account to an entrepreneur account, because, or I guess the topics from business to entrepreneur, changed it right there in the middle of that conversation because she knew that she had the time that second to do it, and if she didn't do it that second, it was going to be gone. And so I think we need to think about that a lot in our business, that we spend a lot of time doing those small things, or doing like saying, hey, I want to do this, but I'm going to save it a little bit later, or I'll do this later, I'll plan it later.
The
Because
biggest lie you'll ever tell yourself.
right. Yeah. Because it's either one, never going to happen, and it's just now written on a sticky note somewhere in your life. That's a shout out to me, or to anybody else who uses pen and paper. It's on a sticky note somewhere. I got sticky notes everywhere. Or like it's not like, if it's something that impacts you that much, fix it real quick. Do it, like a VIP group. You see Tab share something amazing in her on the Scented Social Circle. She says, "Hey, do this task," and ask you to do a 16-day challenge, and you see that and you're like, I'm going to do it later today. No, do it right now. You got time. You're scrolling Facebook anyways. That's how you saw it. Like, and I think we all do that a lot in our business. Me do that a lot in my business, is we take those things and we say we'll do this later. And so think about that in 2025. Like, think about your business very, very deeply and say, here's 12 things that I want to do next year. And give yourself the time to work on those things, but focus on those things as well. Like, I want to have this many parties. In January, I want to do this. If you want to revamp something, there's things I want to revamp. There's things Tab wants to revamp that I know of in 2025. Then set a plan. Like, sorry, I was listening to Matthew's phone call. I just heard wedding 2025 and I was very concerned on who he was talking to. Um, but set those goals, set those intentions, and then write a plan and then do it. Backtracking a little bit to what I said, if you don't have a plan, if you don't know what to do, then please reach out to one of us on this call. There is somebody on this call who is in the same place you are. You guys can brainstorm together. You can come up with ideas and you can say, hey, let's do this together and this together and this together, or reach out to a leader in our group and say, hey, I just want to run this by you. This is what I'm thinking. Do you think it's a good idea? Or I want to be where you're at. Then send that person a message and say that. And so that way we can help you all. That's all I got.
So to add to that, I really want us to start, okay, first to stop comparing ourselves to others. So your journey to my journey is very different. Dylan's journey to Renee's journey is very different. And I want you guys to start comparing yourself to yourself.
Mhm.
And if you just joined and you've only been here for a month or two, I want you to look back at last month's numbers and just try and do your best. I understand that fall season is a little bit different, but it doesn't have to be. Like, honestly, like, I honestly still think that's the biggest lie. We talked about this the other day. Tiffany's biggest time is spring and summer. It's not even fall. Like, you are going to put in, think about this, okay? People say, yep, yes, Dylan.
You know why Tiffany's spring and summer is the best? Because she loves spring and summer.
That's what she is passionate about.
Yeah. Like why is my hand here? It's okay. But she loves spring and summer. We heard it last week in this call. She's so excited for spring and summer because it brings her so much joy. And so she's gonna share the crap out of that, and it's gonna work for her. Okay.
It's passion.
Yeah.
No, it's passion. That's exactly right. You can make anything successful. You can make any month your highest month. I'm going to tell you guys this only to show you what's possible. Okay. Not in any type of way of look at me, because you guys know I hate that. But I went into December saying it's a lie. December will not be a slow month for me. I will take it by the horns. I will do as much work as possible from day one. And I have over 3,500 PRV this month. Like, I set that tone for myself because I knew I had goals for myself. And I challenge you to do that. Don't be the statistic. Be that person that everybody else is here and you're up here. Weather's nice up here, guys. Like, push yourself. Push yourself to that next level because you're possible of it. You are literally the only person that stands in your way. You make the excuses that you fall to. If you say, I'm going to take every spare minute, and tonight I was like, man, I want to put down my numbers. Had a crazy busy day. Like didn't have a half a second. I jumped from thing to thing to thing to thing. Do you know when I made my numbers for tonight? In the drive-through getting food while I was waiting. So you have time. It's whether you choose to use it wisely. And if you want to be disciplined with it, if you want to have goals. This only applies to people that have goals, you want growth, you want to be successful. Like this, if you're hungry, I'm trying to feed you the hyperactive dog food that gets you, your dog the good stuff because they run all the time. Like that's what I'm telling here. If you're like, girl, I don't care about that. I'm just here for a good time. I'm not harping at you. You have a place here. But I'm talking about the people that really want to elevate themselves. Get out of your way. In 2025, get out of your dang way. Tell yourself there's no ceiling. You're going to blow through this. Absolutely blow through. And you are going to set records. You are going to run fast. You are going to be a recruiting machine. Okay, this is what I want everybody to do. I want everybody right now to pick your main focus for 2025. I know this is kind of a big deal to pick right now, but PRV, sponsoring, personal development, because I love me some good personal development, social skills, what other things, guys?
All of the above.
I really want you to hone in on one thing.
I know.
So say it's recruiting, because that's going to be my focus of 2025. I want to recruit. I want to recruit 40 people next year. I've never recruited more than 21 in a year, but I'm going for 40 in 2025 because
That's
why
400
not?
conversations.
How many?
400.
400? That's fine.
Got that in the bag.
That's gonna be a Saturday at work.
You can do
Everybody
that
sees
tomorrow in
that.
the drive-through.
Exactly. I want you to write it down, put it somewhere you're gonna see it every single day. And more than that, I want you to tell yourself in the mirror every single day, I am a recruiting rock star. I am a PRV boss. I love myself. Whatever it is you need to hear, stop waiting for everybody else to tell you and start telling it to yourself. Because we're so mean to ourselves. Like we are so mean. And we've got to stop. We've got to start being the first person who realizes that we value what's in here and what's in here and start giving what's best. Because when we're investing in ourselves, we're able to give our spouses, our children, our coworkers, the best version of us. But when we're not investing in ourselves and we're pouring from an empty tank and we're lashing out and our kids are getting the blunt of it and our husbands and wives and all of that are getting
There's
the blunt of it, like we're not good for anybody at that point. Have to start taking care of yourselves so every day can be better. And it takes one small action at a time. And that's why I am a strong believer in self-development because I've not always been here. I've not cared. I've not had boundaries. I've let people walk all over me and then back up and do it again and again and again and again in an embarrassing amount of time, the same person. So start realizing it, create the boundaries, create respect for yourself, and create goals for your business. Who do you want to be in 2025? And then stick with it. I love that Dylan brought that up about that podcast that we listened to this week because it is so good. Stop telling yourself, stop lying to yourself, I'll do that later. And do it right now. Tiffany, why don't you say it out loud?
she's got herself muted. Yeah, read it.
I want to focus on personal development because I think that I've had seasons in my business where I focused on PRV and I focused on recruiting, kind of, we could say that. But I think like the key for sometimes when you look, the answer is you. Like it's literally just you've got to put the necessary fuel into the vehicle to even get it going. So, um, this should be interesting because I've never really taken the time to focus on myself. I've always focused on what I needed to do for my business, like whatever that was, like just get it done. Like, and it's almost like I've always just been reacting to every situation, everything that happens in my business. Like, oh, it's harvest collection, react to the situation. Like we get brochures, we get those out. It's not like there's not intention behind it because there's definitely intention. I mean, I definitely have goals and I have intentions, but I would really like to not be reacting to every single situation that comes. I want to be prepped and ready. I want to know where my PRV is coming from every single month, and I don't want to stress about that. And until my life is a little bit less chaotic, and that's only going to come from personal development, from doing the hard things that future Tiffany is going to constantly thank me for. And I have to make those changes to make that happen. So we're going to be 2025 is going to be um, forcing in a kind manner myself to do the things that I know that I'm going to thank myself for at the end of the year.
Great.
Great.
That's all.
Good job. I think that's a good thing as well for those. I mean, Tab preached on this a little bit, but for those who aren't here for like the PRV and the sponsoring and they're just here because they enjoy Scentsy, then think of
And us.
2025. Well, yeah, and us. We love you. But think of this as personal development. Like what do you want to do for yourself? Like use this time to say what do you want to do? Like not Scentsy related. What do you want to do with your life? What do you enjoy? What can you change like Tab does with listening to a podcast in the morning? What can you change to make yourself feel a little bit better each day? It doesn't have to relate just to Cincy. Like, yes, we all are here together. We're all one community because of Cincy, but like you can apply this to anything. And so if what you're not wanting to work on is PRV and sponsoring and all of those things, then work on yourself. Like I think that's the greatest thing that we all do have in common is that we can have that time, that little bit of time. Again, we all poop. Listen to a podcast for 5 minutes. Find a 5 minute TED Talk. Find a motivational like YouTube video for 5 minutes and listen to that. Sit in your own little corner in your house and do those things. The other thing I wanted to add real quick just before we run out of time is Tab shared a little bit on her numbers and perspective of what that looks like. And I don't know if many of you were around last year the same time, but this time last year, I shared in the Fresh Sense page something that I went back and I reviewed all of my numbers last year. So every year at the end of the year, I like to review my numbers. If you guys think of me as a rock star or somebody who's really, really cool in this business, I want to share something with you. And that's in 2021, I only did for the whole year of 2021, I did 1,640 PRV. 1,640 PRV. Most of you on this call have done more than that in 1 month. But I believed back in 2021 that 200 PRV was so hard to hit every single month, and I couldn't do it, and I couldn't do this business, and it wasn't for me. And I let everybody else doubt me. And then in 2023, I did over 14,000 PRV. So in one year difference, 1 year difference, I went from 1,000, basically 1,000 PRV to 14,000 PRV, which is more than $1,000 per month PRV. And I just want you all to think about that. It's all in your mind. Tab is so right when she says that. If we think 200 PRV is too hard to hit, if we think 100 PRV is too hard to hit, if we think one team member per year is too hard to hit, you're going to believe it. I used to cry at the end of the month, cry because I couldn't hit 200 and 200 was so hard in this business and this business was not for me. Like literally cry and then get canceled. Like since he would back then call me or email me and say, "Hey, we're canceling your account in 1 month because you're not an active consultant." And I'm like, "I don't get it. It's so hard. I cannot do $200." And what changed was my perspective. It's not that hard. I literally just tell myself every single day, it's not that hard. You can do this in 5 minutes. Just take the time to do it. Set yourself 5, 10 minutes, a 10-minute alarm, and say, for 10 minutes, I'm just going to focus on my business. I'm going to give it everything I have for 10 minutes because I want to go from this PRV to this PRV. I want to personally feel better from this point to this point. I want to grow my team from this point to this point. Like, think about that every single day and remind yourself of that because it's all possible. It really is, and it's all in your mind.
And obviously, I'm not a rock star. I'm not
You're a
at
rock star.
Tab's level.
You're a rock star.
Right, different. Okay,
We
a
all
PRV
got
rock
it.
star. But when you're talking about $200, you thinking it'd be hard. I have to say that from the time that I joined until now, I have never not fallen under that. I've had at least 200 PRV every single month. Sometimes not much more, but
But
so
that shows consistency in your business.
yeah.
It shows me up perfect. I owed you guys this, so you're welcome. An oil drill takes the perfect position to be put in the ground in the perfect motion under the ground. The progress is happening, the oil is coming up, just like the everyday consistency in your business, but you don't see the results until it gets to the top. So often we give up in our business that we never see the oil come to light. But if you keep doing the motion, you keep cranking the oil rig, your oil will come, your business will be fruitful. Don't give up on something just because you can't see it.
Did you have this typed out? You just said that from the heart?
Yeah, I Googled after we talked, I Googled how I could compare it to our business. And I forgot about it until now.
That was good.
That was
You're
magical.
That
welcome.
was perfect. I
I
wanted
know.
you to say that again. I was literally going to say, can you please read that again because that was perfect. But
Oh
you
yeah,
just
you're the title of the
yeah,
replay.
I'm not going to
It's
say that
recorded.
again, but I'm going to watch the replay just for that.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
yeah,
so true.
it is. I was like, wow, this compares to our business more than I could have ever hoped.
Yeah.
What I'm using, like, for now on, any training a team asks me to do, they're getting an oil drill.
Yeah.
And why? Because it came up in topic.
Well, it's so true though. We're pumping and
It
pumping. We don't
is.
know.
It
We're
is.
pumping, and it feels like nothing's happening, no motion's happening, but the oil's getting closer to the end or to the top.
And
And
just like posting in your VIP group and on your personal page, one of these tackle boxes is going to somebody that has never bought a thing from me. Never. So, I mean, not only never bought, but never commented, never gave any clue that they were looking at the Scentsy stuff. So they're looking, they're seeing it.
Yeah.
It just took almost 3 years for them to buy something.
Some people take that long.
Right.
I have people since I joined in my VIP group that are just now interacting, like, oh my gosh, you sell Scentsy? Like, bro, you've been in my VIP customer page for almost 4 years now. But
I sent you 9 months of Happy Mail. 9 months. No.
like, what the heck? So it is about consistency. It's about showing up. And more than that, it's about choosing to show up.
Yes.
So we did run over a little bit. Sorry about that. Anybody have anything else they want to add before we stop the recording? Dylan, you did a fantastic job, my friend. I'm so proud
Absolutely.
That was deep. That was some Jesse Lee in me today.
of you. It really was. Yeah. So I'll share this podcast with anybody who wants to hear it.
Everyone should want to hear it. It's really good.
It's so good, and it was so sad. So last year she did pass away, and it was very devastating to the network marketing community because no one no one matches her energy or her level or anything. And she always like, I accredit like a lot to her. So I like enrolled in her business courses and the lowest level because I could afford that. But there were higher ones I wish I could have been in. But it's definitely like she's it was so funny. I'll never forget the first time that Dylan listened to her and he came to me and he's like, see, I thought you came up with this stuff all by yourself, and it turns out that was Jesse Lee coming out of your mouth. And I was like, yeah.
I also said, I don't see what you guys see in her. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
like her. I did
No.
not like her for the longest time. And I was like, I don't think she's good. And now I'm like listening to her and I'm like, you're so good.
Yeah, and I really, that's something that I would love everybody to start to do something. It doesn't have to be her, but something every single day. Like Dylan said, even if it's 5 minutes, choose something positive, uplifting, invest in yourself, self-talk, self-worth. Like it is such the key for so many things in your life that everything will start to click once you start investing in yourself. So I hope that's on everybody's list for 2025 because I know it's made a huge difference in my life. All right, we love you guys. We appreciate you. Reminder, no call next week because of Christmas. Merry Christmas. We appreciate you guys so much. We won't talk to you. Well, we'll talk to you in the chats and stuff, but we won't Zoom again until Jammy Time will actually be the next one. So we'll be on Christina's Zoom and we are doing goal setting also. So this was the warm up. Next, you get more of it the next call. So, all right. Appreciate you guys.